the student, the athlete, the culture. Welcome back, everyone, to the second series of Moses Squared podcast. We hope you enjoyed our last episode, A Killer Tale. We are now streaming episodes on Apple Podcasts, so make sure you subscribe to our channel as well as YouTube and Instagram and leave a review. Now, let's get into episode 8, Resilient.
Welcome back to another episode of Moses Squared podcast. It's your boy Dezman Moses. I'm here with my sister Lauren Brielle. We're bringing you another episode. And today we're going to begin by talking about the new world champions, Super Bowl champions. One of my former teams. I'm super excited. I feel like I had a small part in it. The Kansas City Chiefs. What do you think about this, Lauren?
Woo! Yeah. Kansas City Chiefs. No, it was a great game. Sunday night, just going out with a few friends, watching the game and seeing them kind of bring it back. I remember the first half, I was entertained, but I wasn't really invested, I'd say. Right. It really wasn't until that fourth quarter with about 8 minutes left where my heart was like pounding out of my chest because I was like, these boys can do it. And if they're going to, it needs to happen right now. But for you, someone who played for the team, how are you feeling watching those the time tick off the clock and them trying to make that run back? Oh,
I mean, it's truly unbelievable. I feel like, again, like I had a small part just to see those guys go out there, the energy, the effort. I understand the sacrifice they've put in. You see them celebrating at the end is true joy, and we grew up playing this game as a kid. Your dream, you envision yourself playing at the Super Bowl, playing on the biggest stage in front of all your friends and families, in front of your city. I know this much. I was here in Kansas City, obviously, while the game went on. The city was electric. I mean, these people were emotional. It was overflowing. You could feel it throughout the fireworks, the whole nine. So for the city of Kansas City, I'm super happy. I'm super proud of all the guys, man. A lot of guys who I played with, Travis Kelce and, Hill and all these guys. Just, it was outstanding. It was great to watch, man. They were resilient. They overcame, and they played a heck of a game. They earned this one. Super Bowl champions, 2019, Kansas City Chiefs.
And just, knowing that you played on two different NFL teams, knowing that both of those teams have a way about them, they have a specific culture. You can't just be a champion. You can't just walk into the season like, hey, we're going to win the Super Bowl today. Right. What does that organization kind of pride itself in to get to stages like this in their seasons?
Well, it takes time. They've gone through the tough times, the ups, the downs. They lost in the first round of the playoffs. They've lost in the second round of the playoffs, so they've missed the playoffs, so they've experienced these different steps. And to win a Super Bowl is just a combination of a lot of different things. A lot of things has to come into place. You got to have a really good quarterback. You have to have a really good defense, coaching staff, contracts. I mean, it's hard because that's the puzzle piece in football is that there's a salary cap. Yeah. So unlike baseball, I guess basketball has one, but it's super high. But unlike these teams, these sports, you can't just pay everybody. You have to have some young guys. You have to have some older guys that play important roles, pivotal roles, and it has to happen in the right time. And then everybody has to be healthy as well. So I know just the amount of preparation that goes into it and almost a little bit of luck that you have to have with health. Yeah. It all comes together, and it's just time. It was Super Bowl 54. I just knew it was going to happen.
And if you guys don't know, 54 is the number that Dezman wore. But even, talking about the 49ers as well, you can't talk about the Super Bowl and not talk about the opponents, and they put up a great game. It was 20-10 for a minute there, and everyone, like I said, my heart was pumping out of my chest. But 49ers, they missed playoffs last season.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah. So for them, obviously being able to get this far in their season and be so close with the awesome quarterback as well and a great team, great culture over there as well. So a former UVA football player that I went to school with back in 2014. He was a senior. I was a freshman. Okay. He used to play for the 49ers as well. He loved it out there. His name was Eli Harold, and I can't remember what team he's with right now, but he's not with the 49ers anymore. But even Juan Thornhill, he was injured. Yeah. He plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. I went to school with him as well, but he was injured, but also, he gets a chip. He gets a ring now. Absolutely. So that's awesome. And he's super young. His second year in the NFL. So congratulations to him as well.
Is this his second? I thought this was his rookie year. He's a young guy.
Is this his rookie year?
I think it might be his rookie year. I think they drafted him earlier this year. Yeah, he's a young player. He has a bright young
right.
future. But
For
to your point and to answer your question, the 49ers are an outstanding team. And you know, whenever you talked about the victors, you have to talk about the team that lost. And obviously in the Super Bowl, they earned their way into this spot. So kudos to the 49ers as well. They had a great young coach, Shanahan. He's a Shanahan. I remember watching his dad back in the day. And, you know, there's a legacy in there, a lot of history and experience. But they had a great team, man. They got a great team. I think the greatest deficit, the difference between the two teams, if you just had to look at it on paper, easily is the quarterback position. You know, Jimmy Garoppolo's more of a game manager. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know, because at one point Russell Wilson was considered a game manager, and this year he's runner-up, third place for MVP. So guys do develop and continue to grow, which I'm sure he will with his game. But Patrick Mahomes is a special talent. And, you know, they went a little bit away from their game plan as far as running the ball. That's what they're known for. They only ended up getting 21 carries in an entire game.
Yeah.
You know, coming off a week where they had 4 rushing touchdowns, there should have been a lot more, you know, running plays. And especially being up by 10 points in the third quarter. They didn't score any points in the fourth quarter, and the Chiefs ran off 21 points. You know, that was the difference in the game right there. 21 points in the fourth quarter.
10 points in 3 quarters, 21 points within, I think, about 6 minutes in that fourth quarter.
Well, that's the Pat Mahomes effect, and I used to call it the Michael Jordan effect. And you may be a tick young to have remember Michael Jordan, but there was, and we got to witness it with Tom Brady, you know, so you're not too young for that, but there's just that element that's feel when you're watching the game. And some players, they'll rise to the occasion in those tight pressure moments. It seems like they get more loose. And I was even telling my lady that, you know, it's like he probably snaps back and probably goes back to a space where he was just in the backyard with his dad, you know, and his dad's giving him those scenarios, 4th and 10, you know. You gotta go to, you know, he's like, okay, 4th and 10, gotta throw it to my dad. And now in the Super Bowl, because of that muscle memory, the repetition, the time spent with his dad, you know, having those conversations that we, you know, had the ability to have with our dad, it's like, I know it, you know, he comes and those moments become a little bit smaller from manageable, and he's just outstanding in those moments. It seems like it gets easier for him.
And that has to be a crazy atmosphere. I mean, you talk about the Super Bowl in general. That is a huge stage. You are in Miami. It's 2020. Like, where would you say that, you know, is the craziest place you ever had to play? I mean, you unfortunately didn't, you know, go to a Super Bowl, but you know, every arena has their own atmosphere, has their own crazy, wild fans. I know for me as a fan of yours and a sibling, Philadelphia Eagles was the place. It was the place. I mean, from the fans to the people who worked in the stadium, it was just crazy.
They're all about their team, and you're right. I mean, we grew up right there, so we were a part of that. We were a part of the problem. You know, so
we were.
We can't point the finger because, you know, it's little kids, you know, flipping you the bird, man, and it's, you know, they're like, the parents are right next to them doing the same thing, and that's just Philly for you, you know. But I had a chance to play in really cool places, Green Bay being one of the historic ones. You know, it's just so much history in there. You walk into Lambeau Field, I mean, it's like, you know, the frozen tundra. I mean, I grew up watching those NFL film stories about, you know, the frozen tundra and the Vince Lombardis and all those teams. It's just, that's the culture, you know. So to have a chance to do that, to actually score a touchdown, a Lambeau leap, in the very stands that, you know, some of the greats got an opportunity to do it, definitely one of the highlights of my football and playing career. You know, a memory I'll take with me forever. But Kansas City is, you know, they're 1A, 1B. You know, they're second to none. Their fans, they turn up. They get it going, and this whole city is literally painted red, or well lit red.
And one thing that, you know, obviously you're talking about the highlight of, you know, some people's careers, some people's lives, especially for athletes, because, you know, playing is just one part of who they are. And going into a big game like this, last Sunday, losing Kobe Bryant. Someone
Wow.
who, no matter what you were doing, whether you're an athlete or not, he touched your life. So this past Sunday, like I said, we lost Kobe Bryant as well as his daughter, two of her
Yeah.
teammates, and nine people total. It was
Yeah.
very tragic. And so those players who played in the Super Bowl and those people who are working the Super Bowl had to get up, go to work. Which for me personally, I didn't have to do the next day, but I know a lot of
Right.
people did. And to lose someone so tragically, and someone who touched all of our lives in some shape or form,
Yeah.
how did you handle, and how did you even find out about
Yeah.
Kobe's passing?
So I was actually I just had a conversation with a young man at the gym, and he ran back over and showed me this phone, and I'm like, it was on Facebook, so I'm like, you got
Yeah,
to take that with a grain of salt. You never know. I ended up doing a little bit more research and saw that it was true, and
yeah,
instantly my heart dropped. I left the gym instantly. I was mid workout. I had to go. Kobe has always been one of my idols, and our dad got to work with Kobe's dad. It's part of our childhood growing up, so I got to hear some great Kobe stories. His work ethic, just his relentlessness, his stubbornness to be great. He
yeah,
didn't take no for an answer. As long as he had breath in his body, literally, this guy knew and believed he could work towards anything. So anybody that knows me know that I believe that about myself. My father and mother instilled that into to both of us, me and my
yeah,
sister. So it's tough for me, because a lot of what I believe is stems from that Mamba mentality, from that just you have to grind, and whatever you're willing to work for, you can earn. And it's an old school mentality.
yeah,
We're in a generation now where everyone's trying to blow. Everybody's waiting to blow. I just need to blow. I'm gonna be. Kobe was old school. He was from the era where he had to work. If you want to be great, no handouts.
yep,
And the evolution of him as a man and as a player and as a dad is part of what I admired about him as an adult. Now, as a father myself, to see him become more unselfish, become a family man, put his family first, and even the time, the tough time he went through with the deal in Colorado and his wife,
yeah,
to be able to man up, to be able to overcome that, to keep your family together, to make your wife feel loved and appreciated still and throughout all of this.
yeah,
It's just commendable, and it's not easy. It's not easy to humble yourself to that point sometimes as a man, but Kobe just continuously evolved as a person and elevated himself, and I truly admire him even more as he retired. He took young guys under his arm and
yeah,
mentored his daughter. I mean, I've seen videos that literally broke my heart,
yeah.
to say I can see the joy, and I know it because I feel it when I'm with my own daughter.
Yeah, and that's what I can say. Like watching him over the past 4 to 5 years, I've really.
Yeah,
I mean, how can you not respect Kobe?
right.
Especially
What's
what he
your
does.
greatest takeaway?
My
What's your greatest
my greatest
lessons learned?
takeaway and my greatest lesson, I can really just put it all into one because the knowledge that this man had
Yeah,
is incredible, and he did not shy away from sharing it, no matter what platform he was on.
you're
I
right.
as a player myself, I love LeBron. So LeBron has
Yeah,
always been my road dog. But when you watch Kobe, it's something in him that inspires you to be a better version of yourself, no matter
yeah,
what your passion is. And that's what's incredible. Like seeing, kids or seeing teachers now, teaching their kids how to, throw the trash into the trash can and yell Kobe for 4 and 5 year olds who don't even know
yeah,
Kobe Bryant, but
for
probably
sure.
has still have heard his name even at that age. And so just his, willingness and even eagerness to share all of his knowledge and all of his lessons with so many
Yeah,
young people, because like you said, not only was he involved with his children's basketball journey, he was getting
for sure.
involved with college athletes' journey, men and women, the WNBA players' journeys as well,
Yeah,
whether that was
yeah.
on the court or off the court. It's so crazy to say this, but one of his close friends and a player that I watch very closely is Sabrina Ionescu from Oregon.
Yeah,
Outstanding player, point guard. She's a scorer. I don't know what position she is, honestly, but she is a senior in college, and has had one-on-one workouts with Kobe, one-on-one workouts with Gianna Bryant. And it's like that was her mentor. That was someone she spoke to on a weekly basis to keep him updated.
Wow.
And when I think about players like that who are just about to, take off, go into the WNBA, start their career with a sport that they've dreamed about since they were young, and losing someone so dear to them, not to mention
Absolutely.
family members of everyone, not
Yeah.
to mention the teammates of those girls who are 13 years old. So I think about everything like that.
Yeah, and not to cut you off, because I think you hit on some very, very important points, and I want you to elaborate a little bit about them. The impact that Kobe was having on the female game. And I think even
Yeah.
with the new CBA and what it was leading towards for young women, young little girls who be able to actually make a living playing the sport they love, not having to go
Yeah.
overseas, not having to go away from their families. So elaborate on how much you think
And
Kobe has impacted that movement.
he's brought visibility and access to the women's game. I can say over the past 2 years, sports networks have been putting more games on
Sure.
TV, which is a step forward, a step in the right direction.
Right.
I remember when you couldn't watch more than 4 games, WNBA games on TV before.
Wow.
You would have to either buy a package or watch it online, which is just insane.
Yeah. That's where the money
but
is. That you have to have the TV deals to get the money to be able to pay the players.
for sure. And so to see the CBA, like you were saying, not only put more money in these ladies' pockets, but giving them resources for them to do out of season. Their season's only 3 months long over the summer. Giving them training sessions, giving them opportunities to get paid while they're on maternal leave. Because if you guys read up on Skylar Diggins' story, who plays for the Dallas Wings, she went through some issues with not being paid while she was taking care of her child who she had just given birth to, whose child was only about 3 months old and was not receiving pay and things like that. But it's brought a lot of access and visibility to the issues that these WNBA players unfortunately have to go through, as well as travel.
No,
I don't know
I
if you've
haven't.
ever seen the way that those girls
Wow.
travel, but they travel commercial. And you wake up for a 5 a.m. flight, so you're there at the airport by 3. Okay, what if your flight gets delayed? Now you're stuck in the airport. And this is their entire team and staff.
Wow. Wow. And like you said, I
So-
think it's commendable by Kobe. And obviously, this is a huge movement for women's sports. And just going back to Kobe and his daughter, it was such a shame, because obviously to lose any child is awful. But just to know that she was the future of the female game, and to have a father like Kobe, who not only was given to other young ladies to move the game forward for his daughters and for all the upcoming young ladies, but just to know that there was going to be another female Lil Mamba Cedar that was going to.
Every time I saw a
man.
video, I was itching. I was like, "Oh, I can't wait till she gets to high school." And, high school. Originally, I was thinking college,
Yeah.
but we see Bronny James high school videos,
Yeah.
and their games are on ESPN, and who you don't even know.
You never know.
Her games could have been right there, right
Absolutely.
next. So it's crazy to even kind of have to heal from this, I guess you could say, because everyone is definitely hurting still to this day. We're about 8 days out now, and people are still giving tributes. LA is still mourning. You see a different mural every day. And it's tough. And I just really was thinking really hard about the Super Bowl participants, because they had to bottle all that up. Even as NFL players, they know the life of a professional
Absolutely.
athlete, especially with a family, and having to prioritize different things. And, they can see themselves a lot in Kobe.
Yeah.
So I was definitely thinking about them and just hoping that they could be mentally ready to take on this challenge on this stage in Miami Beach.
Yeah, you know what? You're spot on, and I think that it did take a lot of mental focus from a lot of different players, and just the whole country in itself has dealt with a ton of major losses, especially the Black community, especially LA's community.
LA,
This year
yeah.
we lost Nipsey Hussle, and now we lost Kobe. Just for me, it's really hit home, for me to give that thanks and show appreciation to my mentors and the people I look up to while they're here. Even if I don't know them
Oh,
personally,
yeah.
it's made me really want to reach out and show that love and show that respect, because no day is promised, and the lessons that these men left behind for me, very, very different messages, Kobe and Nipsey, but in the same in the sense that, it's about working for your family, working towards a goal, not making excuses, rolling with the punches, the good and the bad. It's part of, taking your failures, taking the lessons in the failures and making it something better. That's two things I learned from these two men, and I think we all have something to take away. So, before we wrap this up, I want to ask you, from these two men, and what have you learned, and what can you pass on? What messages can you pass on to our listeners? Something that they can hang on to.
I would say that both these men were the epitome of you don't have to be perfect. They have both gone through things in their life, personally, business-wise. Nipsey Hussle is a businessman, and even, he had some pit stops. Kobe Bryant as well. His personal life was, exposed to the media at one point in his career, and he bounced back. His issues with Shaquille O'Neal, that was all out on social media and in the newspapers back then. But, they weren't perfect men, but their trajectory was always going up. And they were always trying to figure out the next path or the next best way to do something. And so that would be my message to everyone. I wouldn't even just say, the young people listening, is that you don't have to be perfect, but when something is in your way or something has come up that you weren't planning, you got to figure out a way to go around it, because, life isn't stopping, like I was thinking about it, like Kobe Bryant is gone and life is still going, while we're still coping with that. We still have things to do. We still have, his legacy to really live on.
Yeah, we have to uphold. And I think, we leave them with resilience, because you have to continue to overcome. We don't have to be perfect. Thank God for that. We have that grace, but we have to continue to work and strive to be great. That's the difference. That's what separates us. We don't celebrate the 100%ers. We celebrate the people who can do it 99%, because that was usually good enough. Peace and love. We appreciate you guys for listening to another episode of Moses Square, the podcast. We'll talk to you guys next week. Don't forget to press like, subscribe, and follow at Dezman, Dezmann.
You can follow me on Instagram at Lauren.Brielle with 2 E's at the end, and on Twitter at Lauren_Brielle with 2 E's at the end. However, to stay updated on everything Moses Squared, follow us on Instagram at Moses Squared Podcast, which is all one word. There, we will be posting everything from sports news to IGTV videos and more. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll catch you next time. God bless. She just wanna make me feel good. She said she just wanna make me feel good. I know all about it. I know all about them. I know all about loss. I know all about loss.